Good morning from Brisbane, Australia. My name's Linda and welcome to today's live. For those watching afterwards, please feel welcome to say #replay. If you're here today, welcome. It's great to be with you. Today we want to go through some really important information about how to conquer an emotional flashback. And what we're going to do today so that our brain has an order for what's happening is we're just going to touch on briefly what an emotional flashback is, and then we'll go through the 13 steps. I won't keep you longer than the 13 steps. If you would like the 4 pieces of information that I give you, I'm going to put a blog post into group and on my main page so that if you want to, you can print them out. However, at the end of the 4th one, I've got Pete Walker's actual website address and page where you can print them out in one page. Obviously, I can't do them in one page here because it doesn't allow for it in the space. So, without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, so managing emotional flashbacks. Now, I found this really, really interesting because I could relate to it so well with what was going on in my mind with my thoughts. So when we're having an emotional flashback, the amygdala is overwhelmed. It's our emotional center and it's receiving information that things are possibly bordering on unsafe for us, even when they're not. Now, we've gone through in a previous video what's actually happening in our brain and how when the amygdala gets triggered, our conscious brain, the prefrontal cortex is not connected in, so we can't make order out of it. So what we want to do is do these 13 steps so that we can create an order that the brain will get used to doing, and our flashbacks become less and less and less out of control. So when the emotional flashback is happening, we get stuck in fear or shame or depression, okay? And if you've ever lost time, so think about the days when you could go days and not have a shower and not even realise that days have passed. I know for me it became obvious when this was happening, when all of a sudden I couldn't get myself to gym, and that's when I realised the depression had taken over. It's very frustrating because you think, right, I want to get focused. I want to get on with my life. I want to be able to be, on the ball for what I want to do. And next thing you know, you lose days at a time. You've got no motivation whatsoever to move, okay? My thing is gym at the moment. That's simply because of where I'm up to in my recovery. But for other people, it can be the things that you've got to do in your normal day-to-day life. So even down to things like having a shower, eating, remembering to eat. What else? Not being able to sleep, etc., etc. We all know what they are because we all live it every day. We can feel a little fragile and helpless, and that comes back to, because it's a flashback and it happens in our childhood when we literally had no way of coping with the trauma. Everything feels too hard. I mean, hands up everybody who says it just feels too hard, and then you start going in your brain, but it shouldn't be. But it feels too hard, and it's very overwhelming. Remember, everything is overwhelming emotionally. Being seen feels excruciatingly vulnerable, and it does. The last thing is you want to talk to anybody. It's just like, nah, don't talk to me. And your battery seems to be dead. True. And in the worst flashbacks, an apocalypse feels like it will imminently be upon you. When you are trapped in a flashback, you are reliving the worst emotional times of your childhood. Everything feels overwhelming and confusing. So it feels chaotic for me. It feels like I don't know which way to look or turn or what's happening. Especially because there is rarely any visual component. So think about it. We're an adult. We're having a flashback. Everything's feeling overwhelming, chaotic. You don't know which way to look, where to go, and then it's not making sense because I'm an adult. What the heck is going on? You know, I should be able to handle this. Anyhow, let's get into our 13 steps. Here we go. Oops, wrong one. Was it? Oh, I'm sorry. Don't tell me. Okay, guess what? It has been a challenging morning. At one stage, my cat knocked the mouse off my table and then I couldn't find it. So I'm just going to pull up. I'll do an actual one for you, but I just have to pull the information up at the moment because somehow my slide with the first 3 on, or 4, can you just, okay. Right, here we go. I'm sorry you don't have the visual in front of you. And now my book is playing up. You know what? I'm just like, I was in the middle of a flashback doing all this. And I'm trying to read it, construct it, and go, I can do this. And as I'm reading how to cope with a flashback, it's just like, oh, do I need to be doing this now? All right. Okay, so step 1. I don't think... Anyhow. So, say to yourself, I am having a flashback, all right? So, flashbacks take us into a timeless part of our psyche that feels helpless, hopeless, and surrounded by danger, as we were in childhood. The feelings and sensations you are experiencing are past memories that cannot hurt you now. So, the main thing to come out of that is say to yourself, I am having a flashback. And when we're doing that, to breathe, so bring yourself in, bring your brain into the present moment. I am having a flashback. I know in the past I wouldn't know I was having a flashback, so I'd be running around trying to work out why all of a sudden I'm feeling anxious, okay? The second thing is to remind yourself that I feel afraid, but I am not in danger. And I am safe now, here in the present. Remember, you are now in the safety of the present, far from the danger of the past. And one of the things that I found really good for this is to say, I am safe. So, like I've said before, I can be triggered at gym and everything will be going, get out of here, you know. But I learnt to say, I am safe, and to feel it in my breath that I am safe. Okay, big deep breaths, slow breaths. Okay, number 3, own your right or need to have boundaries. Remind yourself that you do not have to allow anyone to mistreat you. You are free to leave dangerous situations and protest unfair behaviour. I don't suggest you do that until you build up your self-worth, because that can feel like more danger, especially around our families when they're very critical. To protest that you're being treated unfairly will just trigger your brain back into a bigger flashback and create more anxiety, okay? So when you're doing things like this, you want to be in a space where you can say, I know who I am, I know this is unfair, and I can leave if I want to. I don't actually have to say anything, okay? Number 4, speak reassuringly to your inner child. This child needs to know that you love her, you love him unconditionally, no matter what their responses to the current situation are. No matter that there's fear, no matter that you feel anxious, you're saying to the little girl or the little boy inside of you, and you're feeling it, I love you unconditionally. That they can come to you for comfort and protection when they feel lost and scared. And an underlying feeling in the fear is that we do feel lost, okay? Like, it doesn't make sense in our mind. There is no order for this overwhelming trauma to be happening, okay? Number 5, and I think, if I'm right, we've got 5 here. So deconstruct eternity thinking. In childhood, fear and abandonment felt endless. So when we think about it, in childhood, and even if you've got kids yourself, you know that they don't comprehend even a year, the space of a year till the next birthday. They have no idea. So when we're experiencing trauma in our childhood, it does feel like it will go on forever and ever and ever. Now, so remember that remind yourself the flashback's going to pass, okay, that you are safe and that you are creating a safer future. And back then, that safe future was unimaginable. We couldn't even picture it, okay? So now we're going to remind ourselves, I'm creating my future. I am safe now. And what was happening back then is not happening now. Remind yourself that you are in an adult body with allies, skills, resources to protect you that you never had as a child. Feeling small and fragile is a sign of a flashback. Number 7, we want to ease back into our body, okay? Fear launches us into a heady worrying or numbing and spacing out. So gently ask your body to relax. So you want to feel that relax. If you want to, you can look up progressive muscle relaxation. If you're in group, we actually have an article on progressive muscle relaxation. And at this stage, you can do something like that to relax your body, okay? And that is the tightening and relaxing of the major muscle groups. And also, relax your brain, okay? So get your breath in there and really feel how tight your head feels and relax that too. And once you start practicing relaxing your head, you actually become more aware of when it's beginning to get tight. So that's a really good thing to practice. Tightened muscles send false danger signals to your brain, and that's what we're trying to get out of, okay? We're not in danger. We are safe because we are adults. Breathe deeply and slowly. Don't hold your breath. One of the breath patterns that goes around actually gets you to hold your breath. That sends more danger signals to the brain. We don't want that. I do 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, and feel how much you can get your breath to go deeper. Feel the depth of your breath, okay? Slow down. Rushing presses your brain's flight or fight response button. So you can slow your thoughts down, slow your feelings down. You're in charge of regulating them now, okay? Practice, practice, practice. Consistency. Find a safe place. Often in the past, my safe place used to be my bed, okay? You can hold your pillow. You can wrap a blanket around yourself. You can hold a stuffed animal. And if you're on the spectrum, get something that you can touch, okay? Do you know all the toys that are out now that have all that ruffle in them? Or I have rice packs with material that's raised. And when we use our senses, okay, it helps get back into our body, and our sensory information then becomes, I am safe, okay? Feel the fear in your body without reacting to it. Fear is just an energy in your body. It cannot hurt you if you do not run from it. And remember yesterday our meme was about how we become afraid of other people's emotions as well as a child, okay? So we want to learn to become safe with our emotions, feeling them, and then as we do that, we realise that other people's reactions are for them. They're not ours to worry about, okay? Number 8, resist the inner critic's drasticizing and catastrophizing. So use thought stopping. to halt the critic's endless exaggerations of danger and its constant planning to control the uncontrollable. And that's a whole different mindset as well, by the way, when we begin to realise that we're trying to control things that are uncontrollable or outside of our control, especially with other people. So if the trigger has been other people, you will need to sit in your heart and feel it, that you can't control what they're going to do, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that you aren't safe, okay? Refuse to hate, shame, or abandon yourself, okay? Channel the anger of self-attack into saying no to your critic's unfair criticism. One of the best things we can do is listen to the people around us who tell us how kind and caring and everything else that they tell us. Believe them, because not believing them doesn't work. So start to believe them so that when your inner critic comes up, you can say, it's not the truth. And it's no longer your truth, okay? Use thought substitution and thought correction to replace negative thinking with a memorized list of your qualities and accomplishments. So your homework today can be a simple list of your good qualities and also your values, things that you value in life. We won't go down that, but that's a whole chat show. Okay, allow yourself to grieve. Flashbacks are opportunities to release old, unexpressed feelings of fear, hurt, and abandonment. Validate and soothe your child's past experience of helplessness and hopelessness. Yes, I was hopeless and helpless. We couldn't do anything about it at the time. Nothing. There was nothing we could do. But now I'm an adult and I'm in charge, and there is lots we can do to feel safe and comforted. We can comfort ourselves, okay? Healthy grieving can turn your tears into self-compassion and your anger into self-protection. So remember to ask yourself, where do I need to be more compassionate with myself? It's a good question for today. Where do I need to be more compassionate with myself instead of expecting me to be perfect in every moment of time? And one of my flashbacks is always triggered by having to be perfect, okay? And it's something that I work with a lot. And today was an absolute disaster trying to get online. And I just had to keep going, I'm okay. It doesn't matter if I'm late. It'll all be perfect timing. And for many reasons it was, okay? I want you to cultivate safe relationships and seek support, okay? So take time alone when you need it. And if you're a parent, says the teacher coming out of me, if you're a parent, teach your kids that they need time alone too. And that if they're going to have alone time when you're having alone time, they need to sit quietly, okay? We are teaching them the discipline of their own mind too. We sit quietly, okay? Mommy just needs some alone time. It's what we need to do for our children because we want to change what we're handing on as well, okay? Don't let shame isolate you. Oh my goodness. Shame, if you ever watch Brene Brown's work, you know that shame is a real sense that I don't belong, okay? We belong, all right? We belong, we need each other. Not needy, we need to connect, okay? It's part of our way back to our lives. Educate the people around you about your flashbacks and ask them to help you talk and feel your way through them. Remember, do that with the safe people in your life. It's worth it. And those that really, really want to be in your life, they understand and they know that you're not going, oh, well, this is happening again and woe is me. You're saying, this is happening again. Let's work my way through it, because the more often that I do that, the quicker I can process a flashback, okay? Now, sometimes the energy that we get released from our brain during a flashback can be very tiring for our brain and we need rest. Other times it's simply that we process the flashback and then we're able to keep going on with our day. It can be different for each of us. So learn to identify the types of triggers that lead to flashback. So sometimes you need to, after the flashback's over, you need to backtrack and go, what was that flashback? And if you can't get it straight away, you're not allowed to worry. Okay, it will come the more relaxed you are. And look, this has got to be something that we practice. Avoid unsafe people, places, activities, triggering mental processes. Practice preventative maintenance with these steps when triggering situations are unavoidable, okay? And I know that you all understand what it is to practice preventative, but remember, preventative doesn't mean not going and interacting with safe people. It means that we go, this person's safe, I can interact with them. This person's not, so I'm going to learn to say no. So there's a whole process that we can go through to learn to say what we need, okay? Figure out what you are flashing back to. Flashbacks are opportunities to discover, validate, and heal your wounds from past abuse and abandonment. They also point to your still unmet developmental needs and can provide you with motivation to get them met. So I would go and sit down after this and I'm going to examine, why did I always feel that I have to be perfect, and work out what need I wanted met at that time. And now I'm going to recognise how I can meet that need in my day-to-day life as an adult, okay? And it will help the process of decreasing the flashback, because then I can say when the flashback's happening and it's perfectionism, I can say, well, no, do all the body work, right? I don't have to get this perfect. I don't have to be on time. Everything will work out perfectly. And I'll also have the reasons to combat, like turn it all around, turn the perfectionism around to good enough, okay? What I'm doing is good enough. Please be patient with the slow recovery process. Don't be like me and believe it'll happen overnight, okay? And look, many of us do. We want it overnight, and especially when we have this information, we want it to happen overnight because we've spent so many years like this and didn't know, okay, didn't understand what was happening. It takes time in the present to become de-adrenalized. So for years, our brain has been running just on the adrenaline, and I can't tell you how long it's taken for me to be able to relax my muscles alone, because I spent so many years like that. But it's worth it. Remember, we do hard things, we do them together, and it's worth it, okay? And it does gradually decrease the intensity, the duration, and frequency of flashbacks. Mine are becoming less and less and less. Although doing this work, sometimes I think, is it more? No. It means I'm able to handle them and move on a lot more quickly. Yeah, and I liked what Pete said. Real recovery is a gradually progressive process, often 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But remember, there's more forward than there is back. Not an attained salvation fantasy. Don't beat yourself up for having a flashback. Now, if you want to print all of these out on an A4 sheet, head over to Pete's website, petewalker.com, and he has them all there, and they're in his menu to the side, which you can see easily. Print them out, stick them on your fridge, stick them in your bedroom, stick them next to you at the lounge. Memorise them, practice, practice, practice. Consistency, commitment, and courage will see us leading more and more, or progressively, healthier lives and apart from the flashbacks. Thanks for being with me today. Any questions or comments, please, you're welcome to put them down below. And it's been wonderful to share this information with you. I hope it helps, and I'm looking forward to our next session. And we'll go, I'm not sure what we're doing next session, but it'll be there. And remember, if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. And thank you for watching, and it's great to be sharing information with all of you that is changing our lives and will change the lives of the generations that come after us. Bye for now.